you want to talk a little bit about real estate?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so we've been thinking about doing a webinar talking about the process of how we acquire the capital to purchase the property and just our experience going through the process. And I remember there was one point where we met an investor who told us, don't do it. Don't buy a house out of state. Don't do it because it's going to be so terrible and you're not going to know what they're doing in your property, and don't do it. And now that we've ignored that and we went ahead and done it, it's like, who does he think he is telling us not to do it?
Right.
You know?
A little backstory though. We walked, the way we met him was at an open house. So he wanted us to buy the house.
Right.
So we talking to him about, we really not looking to buy a house. We just love just going into open houses.
We sure do.
Just being nosy. We just nosy people. So, but he trying to sell us a house. So we're trying to share with him with like, we're not really looking to buy. We're just paying off our home, and we're thinking about investing in it.
Yes.
And he's pretty much saying, well, I own properties, and
and he owns properties, and he gonna tell us not to do it. I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep a brother down. Yeah, trying to keep a brother down. So I just took his information and, shook my head. Okay, it's not a good idea. Okay, thank you. And we continue to do our own research.
Yeah, but at first we was kind of like, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it's not. But let me tell you what was confirmation for us, because I had this plan to purchase real estate property while we were still in debt. So I had come up with this whole idea. I said I want to be a real estate investor. And so I just started telling myself that, and I just had this plan, and I wrote it out. I told my coworkers was laughing at me because I'm just out there. But anyway, I told my husband, and you thought it was great, but we had to sit on it for basically about 2.5 years.
Yes.
But it was still in the works. But anyway, the confirmation. So, so anyway, I had this idea, and the thing that was confirmation for me, because I got nervous and I got scared. After we paid off our condo, I was like, why are we going to buy another property? We're going to have debt on the property, or we end up buying it cash. But anyway, and I got nervous, and I started to want to hold on to what I had, right? But you just got to let some stuff go, and you just got to do it. Just dive out there. So the confirmation for us was in a span of a month, we met 2 millionaires. One was a multi-millionaire, and both of them earned their money through real estate. Right. And they weren't flashy.
You would have never even known.
You would have never known. And it just kind of came out in a conversation. Right. I was just talking. I will not disclose who this person is, but it just came out in a conversation that this person was a multi-millionaire, works a regular job. And after I met that person, I said, this is divine. Right. Okay. And so we went ahead with the process, and I'm so happy. So it sounds like there is some interest in real estate investing. And no, we don't know everything, but we will tell you what we do know. Exactly. We will tell you and share with you our experience. And one of the things reasons why I was thinking about a webinar is because the webinar, we can really go into detail and we can really give the monies. Because usually when we do videos, they're like 5 minutes. Right. But if we're going to go into detail about the figures
and everything. Yeah.
Now we have a renter in there, and how that's panning out it'll take a little bit, it take longer than 5 minutes. Right. And we want to really put some thought into it and make sure that we're sharing sense. I want to show me the money. I'm like that. I'm that nosy. Yeah, so we want to make sure that we can do that for you.
So there's many strategies in real estate, right? First of all, the one that we thought worked best for us was to invest in rental properties, to buy a property and have a renter pretty much pay the mortgage down for us or pay us rent. And then there's different strategies to get the capital for something like that, right? You could either just have the cash.
Who has the cash?
Right. You can leverage your credit and get a loan, But what we did was we paid off paying off our home here, we were able to tap into some, not all of the equity in our primary residence. Use that out of state where we could stretch our dollar a little further, and was able to pay for that home cash. Yeah. Now we will get a lot more in depth with figures, but what Shira's great strategy is what you want to do, you want to get the home at around 80% of its market value, right? Then once you get that home cash, you do
well, you have to get a renter.
You have to get a renter in there. You have to have a renter in there for 6 months.
At least.
And then you do a cash out refinance on the home, which they'll refi you pretty much in a nutshell. And you don't have to have your house totally paid off to tap into the equity. If you have equity in your home, you can tap into that equity, whatever that is, whatever that amount is. So it's a really cool strategy, and it's something that I'm really excited about. Shire got me super passionate about real estate. So I mean, it's really cool, man. So
and we're learning.
We're still learning. We'll start.
Sure.
But we did buy the property. We do have a renter in there on the first. Look at direct deposit.
You got that check in there.
So
yeah,
it's just another way to build wealth. A lot of people may invest in stocks. Things like that.
You should have a diversified portfolio. You should do all that,
Absolutely.
But the rental property is doing well. We got a renter in there in about 2 weeks. It's renting for a little over $1,000 a month. And so we're really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just another level that, you get to. One is paying off your debts, your current debts. And then once you do that, now it's about, how can I build wealth? Because the goal is to build generational wealth for your children. Someone has to be that catalyst in your family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Because that's how wealth is built.
It's transferred.
It's transferred.
Right.
So someone has to be the one to say, you know what? I know my family has been surviving and doing well, but now it's time to turn that key and really put your foot on that gas.
Right. And some of us aren't going to be our parents are not going to be able to leave us anything. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I feel like I might be in that position. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
So, so we just have to do what we can to build wealth, whether you have kids or not. You just never know what the future holds, but you just be thinking about it. I wish that we were thinking about this years ago, because we'd be so much further ahead.
Right.
But for us, the analogy that I like to use is if you've ever seen those birds fly in that V formation, the bird in the front is carrying the brunt of the wind. And as the V goes back, the load becomes lighter and lighter for each of the birds that are going back. And then when the bird in the front gets heavy, they drop out and somebody else shares the load. And I say, for our family, we are that bird that's in the front that's really going to be carrying the brunt, of this. And so we are making some sacrifices. We have somebody ask us, when are you guys going to be moving? Because I'm not in my dream home,
Right.
When are you going to be moving? I said, well, we're going to be here for a while. Mm-hmm. And that's okay, because we want to take this time to build our real estate portfolio. And if I move and I have to pay, a $2,000 mortgage, I'm not going to be able to have the freedom to do that. So we're making the sacrifices now. I will live in the hood. And I'm just, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice now, and that's fine. And you have to be willing to make those sacrifices.
Right.
That's important, and it will pay off later, so that's the important thing.
Yo, it's your boy, Anthony O'Neill, and you're listening to the baddest couple, I believe, on the planet. You're listening to the Black, Married, and Debt-Free podcast.
Yeah.
We want to be transparent. We want to keep it 1,000 with you guys. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of you know that we purchased a home. When we purchased in October.
We did. We purchased in October.
Yes. And so we were kind of on the fence because we had a lot of things going on in October. Right. I'm in school and I just started a new job, and Marcus is always busy. We barely see each other.
Right.
Honestly, when we make our videos, it's usually in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we do videos in the middle of the night. But yeah, so we kind of debated upon whether or not we would purchase a property or if we would wait.
And again, going back to the goals, 2018, the goal was we want to buy 2 properties.
That was the goal.
We wanted to do it.
That was the goal.
I'm like, that was my thing. And Shira was like,
I was like, no, we should wait.
We should wait, because it's winter. It's around the winter, but do people move in the winter? I'm like, well, people are always moving. We could get a renter in there.
No, I don't know.
So
it's a trick. Okay.
Yeah. We're still in, like I said, This is still a trial and error.
This is the thing. With winter, if you purchase a property in winter, yes, people are less likely to move. People are more likely to not pick up their family and move during the middle of a school year,
right.
So people do move less.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
In cold, it's snowing there. Absolutely. where the property is. Thank you. It's snowing there. And so people are less likely to move. And so that is something to consider. But then also, if you're purchasing a property like in the dead of winter, you might be able to get a better deal because of the fact that people don't move and people, will wait till the spring or the summer to move, So it's like, is this deal worth it? Is the deal worth taking a risk? Yeah. So am I going to get a discount on a property to where it's worth it being vacant for a month or two?
Right.
So that's something to
definitely consider.
Yeah. And so that's kind of where we were.
Yeah.
So guess who had to make the first mortgage payment?
That was you. I think you did that, didn't you?
We had to make the first mortgage payment. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to make the first mortgage payment because you already, you had the down payment. You already flew out there. You already, made minor repairs to the property, and now you're making the first month payment. Right. So that also brings up the point to where, like, if you're interested in getting an investment property, like, you do have to have some reserves. Like, you have to have reserves because if something happens with that property, like, you have to be the one to take care of it. So we were the one to not only pay the first mortgage, but guess what?
Yes. So while showing the property, and we live in California, we purchased this property in North Carolina. So the properties in North Carolina, they've had a lot of snow recently.
Yes.
So they have to warm the property when they're showing to potential renters.
Yes.
And so I looked at the heater bill and I'm like, "Ooh, this heater bill, this thing.
It's kind of high."
Yeah. So I called the company. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" It's like, it's been metered and this is the correct price. I'm like, okay, so
like, hold up, who's living? Is there a squatter?
Do we have a squatter in there?
What's going on?
But because they don't want the pipes to freeze and different things like that, so my property manager, she's doing an awesome job, and she has the heat kind of pumping in there. So, you have to consider all these things,
right?
But all in all, it's just like investing in the stock market. You're gonna have bear times and you're gonna have bull markets. But you're gonna have good and you're gonna have bad. So that's something that we considered, and we know that in the long run, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good investment.
Oh, absolutely. You make the sacrifice because you can. Now, if we were not in a financial position to do it, we wouldn't have done it.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it's a trade-off. You don't know how long it's going to take to get a renter in. So you do your best to get your property in a desirable neighborhood. You make sure that everything is working, and you make sure that worst come to worst, you would live there if you had to. Right. So we try to make sure the property is nice and clean and all that stuff. Because
we got a great question. It says, how necessary is it to have a background, real estate license, training, etc., to invest in a property?
It's not necessary at all. No. You don't need a real estate license.
Yeah.
You need training. This is the thing with training, because a lot of the things you can find on the internet or you can find it in a book. But what training does is it kind of gives you the confidence to step out.
Right.
And so even in learning about real estate,
we're going to get you all you guys' questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in learning about real estate, it's still a point to where you kind of have to take a leap of faith, right? Am I really going to do it? You know what to do, but you don't know who you need to be to do it. And once you figure out who you need to be to do the things that you want to do the things that you're called to do, you'll make it happen. Right. So like when it came to purchasing our first property, neither one of us are real estate agents. We started watching a lot of videos on real estate. We started thinking about real estate while we were still in debt.
Right.
Because for me, the debt was a mathematical equation. I knew what my income was, and I knew what our budget was, and I knew that by this particular date that we would be debt free.
Zero balance.
So I was like looking years into the future. And so we have been talking about real estate and studying and reading for a while. So you don't need a professional background. It's just, just doing your due diligence to study. And then when it's time to take that leap and to jump out there, to just really have the faith and the courage to do it.
Yeah. It's my endeavor to really dig deep and share more on the real estate side, the investing side. So we're preparing things to be able to get you guys like a 101 investors, kind of video or overview or something to that extent.
Right, because it's surprisingly not as hard as people think it is.
It's really not, yeah.
Right.
We have another question. It says, what made you decide to buy in North Carolina? So we wrestle with that.
Random.
So we wrestle with that.
I have an analogy.
Yes.
The way that we stumbled on North Carolina, have you seen is it Coming to America? It was like Queens.
Remember we spun the globe and we just pointed. Now
it was like Queens.
We knew we wanted to purchase a rental property, investment property somewhere that provided our dollar to stretch further. So we knew we couldn't just use the California equity and buy a house in California because they were too high, right? So we wanted to go somewhere where that dollar would stretch a little further. So we were looking at
Tennessee. We're looking at Tennessee.
We're looking at Georgia.
Texas.
But
their property taxes are too expensive.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things to consider.
There's a lot of factors. You want to get somewhere where the price of the home is good, and then the turnaround of the rent you can receive from the home is good. You want to calculate your return on investment and make sure that's looking good, so. Yeah,
we want at least 1%. So like the first house we purchased that actually does have a renter, the first house we purchased was around $100,000 and the rent is $1,000. So we look around to have at least like a 1% return, and that 1% return gives us enough for the mortgage and much more. It exceeds the mortgage by several $100s. So it helps us to be able to pay for, liability insurance and the property taxes and other costs that you have to consider. So we just kind of stumbled in North Carolina. Marcus, he has a friend out there, and we couldn't afford the city that his friend lived in. So
he lives in Charlotte. So we were looking at Charlotte. It was like Charlotte is,
it's nice though. It's nice in Charlotte.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
So we opted on Greensboro. So Greensboro is like the third largest city in North Carolina.
Yes. So you look at population.
You look at
employment, the average income in that area.
Right. You don't want to go buy somewhere you could get a house for $2. But no one lives there.
Right. You also want to look at the school system, because when you get a renter, you want someone to stay. Right. So it's like, okay, well, what are the schools ranked? Because if I have a poor school, I might be likely to just stay for a little bit and leave.
Right.
Are there many challenges with managing a property across the country? Well, we don't manage it.
We don't manage the property.
We
manage the manager. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So we were so lucky that our realtor connected us with 2 potential property managers, and we kind of interviewed them and talked to them and seen exactly what they offered and what they charged. And man, we found a great one. Very sweet lady.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Just so
I would just give her
Southern hospitality. I mean, she's just so
hospitality.
Sweet and nice. Shirley from Ralu Properties. So if you guys are in North Carolina, she's great.
So but this is what you have to do. Like when you're investing out of state, you got to build your team. So you have to find a good realtor.
Yes, you have you trust.
Right. And if you have a good realtor, chances are they're connected within the real estate thing.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with us. We found a really good realtor, and the first realtor that we talked to was not a good one, and the second one we talked to was not a good one.
Right.
And they're here that you're out of state. They figure that you're young. They try to quiz you. They brush you off. They don't return your calls. But when you find a good, person, someone that's responsive, stick with that person. And if they're connected, let them know I'm an out-of-state, I'm an out-of-state investor, just say I'm an out-of-state investor, put that on it, and see how they are connected. And like Marcus was saying, our realtor was able to give us several recommendations of people who we reached out to, and just it turned out to be awesome. But every property that we buy is important that we see it. So we fly out there, and our realtor, we've met our realtor in person, go out to lunch, you meet your property manager. I need to see you. You need to see me, because this is everything I got. So we need to make sure I'm priority. I need to see you. We're gonna spend some FaceTime together. So you can do it, but you really have to know that you're building a team, and that these people, so you can do it.
Right. Another question on real estate, timeshare. It says timeshare ownership is good, or avoid those kind of vacation homes.
Get Airbnb.
I think the Airbnb thing is something that I'm interested in. Timeshare is a bit
timeshare ownership.
Yeah, timeshare ownership. I've heard some people that really want to get out of that sphere, that are kind of stuck. So I can't speak to it, with the proper intellect it requires. But I would say the Airbnb thing is something that I would consider or dig a little bit more in. That sounds kind of intriguing to me. Not sure about timeshare though.
Yeah. I'm open. I like to explore.
Whatever's going to get you the best return on your investment.
Right.
Man.
Glad to see there's some interest in real estate, and you don't be afraid of it. Like, you want to do it, you can do it. You can do it.
Here's the thing. Even if you make mistakes, those are just learning experiences.
Well, sometimes mistakes cost money. Okay. Yeah. So just be aware of that.
But you can still learn.
You're still learning. But the best thing to do is to learn from other people and their mistakes. And that is why we want to share, our experience in how we're learning, because that's we're learning and we're growing, and we continue to develop ourselves and to increase our knowledge for our benefit. But also we know that we have folks that watch us. We want to make sure the information that we give out is accurate.
Right.
Is up to date.
So what we want to do before we leave is we want to encourage you once again to follow us on Instagram and follow us on YouTube. That's where we are really releasing a lot of our content, quotes, on Instagram and different things to encourage you. And then all of our video content is on YouTube. We have almost 30 videos of just us just sharing our story, sharing the knowledge that we have. So yeah, man, make yourself at home on those two social media medias. And also we have a Facebook page that we do that is we are very active on as well. So we want to thank you guys for rocking with us. Thank you guys. Share this with your friends, man. Like we can't do this without people.
Right.
If nobody's gonna follow us, what are we doing? Right?
So, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah,
we'll do it anyway.
It's fun.
This is like our passion thing. Like we're not selling a bunch of products or anything like that. We're just sharing information because it's something that we're passionate about, and we realize that there's a community out there that's also passionate about the same thing.
Yo, so we hope you guys enjoyed that podcast episode. We hope that we said something that you can take away and apply. We are here to inform and to inspire. So do us a huge favor and rate this particular podcast on whatever platform you're streaming this. Rate this 5 stars, write great reviews, anything that you can do to help us. We really, truly appreciate it. All right. So for Black, Married, and Debt Free, this is Marcus Murray signing off until next time. All right. I'll let you guys later. Peace.